I want to talk about is colorism within the black community. So in other words, the light skin versus dark skin argument. Now, normally this is something that I don't really want to shed too much light on, only because to me it's such a trivial topic in terms of the fact that it's 2017 and this is still going on. But it is still a serious matter at hand. And it was brought to my attention once again by one of my friends. The story that he told me earlier today was very disheartening, to say the least. It's very disappointing. And I feel like his story needs to be shared to the masses just to reveal how ridiculous of an argument that this really is. So shout outs to him. Basically, he called me this morning and told me about how he posted a picture of him and his girlfriend. By the way, my friend is dark-skinned, a dark-skinned black man, and his girlfriend he's been dating recently, is a light-skinned black woman. So they posted a picture of them posing up together, of course, posted on social media, and you know, you had a few people liking the photo, people commenting, as people normally do on social media. But then what transpired is where the whole disconnect happens. So a lot of people, you know, that either he grew up with or he's befriended along the way, messaged him. And these were all black women, dark-skinned black women specifically. And they labeled him every negative name under the sun. They called him a sellout, they called him a coon. They basically told him, oh, so you're dating light-skins now? Oh, you're a contradiction. I thought you were pro-black. I thought you were only into dark-skinned women. What happened to that? Now, mind you, here's where the contradiction lies, basically. Not with him, but with the women who called him out. Half of the women who called him out have dated light-skinned men, but not only that, but they've also dated outside of their race as well. So, mind you, I have no problem with that. I'm all for everyone dating everyone. But my thing is this. There's no consistency in their argument. So if you are to call him out for dating a light-skinned woman who's still black, by the way, how is it right for you to make that judgment when you yourself have not only dated light-skinned black men, but you've dated men outside your race in general? How come you have the privilege of doing that, but then my friend, dark-skinned black man, doesn't have the right to do such a thing, right? So we were just talking about that, and it is very disheartening to say the least because of the fact that it's 2017. Like, why are we still discussing this? Like, this is something that should have been left to the wayside, but no, the Willie Lynch theory still exists. And it's not even that it still exists with black Americans, but it still exists with black people on a global scale, which is extremely disheartening because of the fact that that message has carried on not only through centuries, but it's carried on worldwide. So here's my thing when it comes to this light skin versus dark skin argument. And I made a big post about this on Facebook earlier today in case you guys didn't check it out. First things first, just in terms of looking at the bigger picture, especially when you live in a diaspora like Toronto, for example, everyone has the right to date anyone of their choosing from a different race, religion, culture, etc., etc. It does not matter. Especially when you consider that we're in the melting pot of Toronto, you are bound to come across people who are of a different skin, not only skin tone, but skin color in general. So you should be able to date whomever you choose to without any criticism because, again, we are in a new generation, so we should embrace that. But speaking specifically towards black people in terms of the whole light skin versus dark skin thing, which I even hate labeling that, but unfortunately that is the case, why should we demonize the black men, the dark skinned black men specifically, who choose to date lighter skinned women? That doesn't mean that they view them as much more beautiful than a dark skinned woman, and that does not mean that they don't view dark skinned women as beautiful at all. I think this really stems from celebrity culture and pop culture in general. Because if you think about it, a lot of people like or just love to live their lives vicariously through pop culture and what they see in media and how it distorts their images of what beauty stands for. For example, within hip-hop culture, you will normally see rappers who are of a darker pigment have lighter-skinned women in their music videos. Now, that could be their personal choice. That could be the choice of the music video director. That could be the label saying, hey, we need some more racially ambiguous women to appeal to a wider audience, whatever the case may be. Either way, it is all smoke and mirrors. It's just for show. It's entertainment. But a lot of dark-skinned women internalize that and say to themselves, hey, well, if these rappers idolize dark-skinned women or view them as much more beautiful than dark-skinned women, then I guess that's what all black men think. And that's the wrong mentality to have, because at the end of the day, rappers do not speak for all black men. Rappers are just a small portion of black men, basically. Not every other black man you're going to meet is a rapper, regardless of the whole Toronto stereotype where every other person is a rapper. That's not entirely the case at all. A vocal minority, sure, but that's not the entire case. But nonetheless, I digress. I feel like people need to stop living in that lens of what they see within pop culture. And just because they may see Kevin Hart or Kendrick Lamar with a light-skinned woman doesn't mean that they're not attached to the cause, so to speak, or that they don't view dark-skinned women as beautiful. That's not the case. Maybe, and just maybe, they may see that woman and view her as an equal, and they may view her as someone that they might spend the rest of their life with, and they like her for who she is, and that the fact that she's light-skinned may just happen to be a coincidence. Now, in everyone's defense, whether a man or woman, you are allowed to have a preference. You can prefer light-skinned women if you want. You can prefer light-skinned men if you want, or vice versa. It really doesn't matter. But I don't think that you should view a black man dating a light-skinned woman and say, oh, he's probably only with her because she's light-skinned. Oh, he probably only wants to have light-skinned babies or babies with good hair and stuff like that. That's not the case. You should always have positive intent, especially if the person who is in question has shown favorable consideration amongst their peers over the years as far as their personality and what they bring to the table in that aspect. Now, here's where the double standard lies in play. Now, I've always noticed that whenever a dark-skinned man is dating a light-skinned woman, there's always so much criticism that goes with it. But then when a dark-skinned woman dates a light-skinned man, there's very little criticism that goes with it. I've rarely heard any criticism, at least from a black male perspective. And as far as women go, I haven't really heard it much as well. But then when a dark-skinned woman chooses to date outside her race, especially if it's a white man, no one says anything. Everyone always says, in fact, everyone always congratulates her for the most part and says, oh my gosh, you got yourself a white man. He probably cares for you so much. He probably opens a door for you and pays all your bills. Like, I've heard this before. Like, I'm not even trying to talk out my ass right now. I have literally heard this on multiple occasions. That just because the man is white, that he just came up and rescued her from some sort of solitude or purgatory that she had to deal with by dating a black man. And half the time, this is personified in Tyler Perry movies, so go figure. My point is this. I don't see why there should be a double standard, and I don't see why black men should be demonized because of what you see within pop culture as far as hip-hop culture is concerned, and just general celebrity lifestyle overall. If you see Diddy dating a light-skinned woman, he doesn't speak for all black men. If you see Kendrick Lamar dating a light-skinned woman, he doesn't speak for all black men. And here's the thing right here that kind of annoys me as well. Black people are already being marginalized enough as it is by the general consensus. So why, or how rather, does it make sense that we're doing it to each other? Why should a dark-skinned person go up to a light-skinned person and say, oh, you're not black enough? You don't know the struggle. You don't know how it feels. You don't know what it is to walk every day in my shoes as a dark-skinned person. You have more privilege than me. I've never understood that argument because at the end of the day, even though this person is lighter, the amount of privilege that they may have over you may be a morsel in comparison to what a white person would have in terms of privilege. So we're comparing crumbs to breadsticks at this point when it comes to privilege between a dark-skinned person and a light-skinned person. It's like Jay-Z said in the record that we were just playing right now. House nigga, field nigga, short nigga, dark nigga, light-skinned nigga, still a nigga. Like, we're still black in the eyes of society overall. Whether we're talking about LeBron James or Stephen Curry, they're still black in the eyes of society. So the minute they mess up on something, then all their credibility is gonna come crashing down, and the media will tear them up for whatever it is. Look at Tiger Woods. This guy was America's golden boy for how long now? But the moment it came out that he was cheating on his wife, the media started stomping on him. He wasn't this golden boy, golden image thing anymore. Everyone just railed on him. So no black person is immune from that. It's almost like black people have to have a perfect record before doing anything wrong, or else they'll come crashing down like a game of Jenga. So when black people realize and understand this, And some people within who have the darker pigment want to point fingers at a light-skinned person for having privilege. It makes no sense to me. It's almost like they're taking that Willie Lynch theory and they're personifying it within their everyday lives when the whole idea of that Willie Lynch theory is to rebel against it. This guy's been dead for like 200 plus years and his words still ring true to this day. And it's not because of media, well, partially because of media, but more so it has to do with the responsibility of black people that refuse to take on the responsibility to fight against it. And that's the main problem right there. And I think that's a problem that black people need to combat against rather than combating against each other because you didn't get the guy that you desired just because he had a preference for the girl who had the lighter pigment. Now, what if there are black men who only date light-skinned girls because of some stereotype? That may be the case. But until that man says something, you cannot judge him right off the bat. It's always imperative to have positive intent when you see somebody dating somebody. You can't just say, oh, he's probably with her because he's skinny. Oh, he's probably with her because she got money. No, just even if that man is with her, what does it matter to you? Unless if you have feelings for that person, why do you care that that dark-skinned man is dating a light-skinned woman? If you have no feelings for that man whatsoever, then why are you crying over spilt milk? It makes no sense. And kind of going back to that double standard narrative that I was speaking on earlier, I remember a few weeks ago when I was covering that Kodak Black story about how he doesn't date black bitches, as he called them, but yellow bones rather. Now, that is a time where you can actually point and criticize somebody for dating someone of a lighter pigment for selfish reasons. That is a very selfish reason to state. Like, it's one thing if you're more attracted to a particular shade, but to demonize one faction of people who are of a particular shade just to uplift another, that is not right. If anything, those are the people that you need to attack. But you can't assume that every single dark-skinned black man has that mentality. That is a problem. Now let me tell you about another story that I actually didn't get to speak about on air when it did happen within the following week. So there's a lady who goes by the name of Ariana. For those of you who don't know, she was actually a female performer for the WWE. So she was a female wrestler at the time. Prefers to date white men, and she was asked by TMZ. So the reasons she was giving, they're just general vague reasons. She's like, I don't know, I'm just more attracted to them, etc., etc. And hey, that's fine. If you want to give that reason, that's fine. No harm done. It's all good. You like what you like. It is what it is. But at the very end of the interview, however, she said that black women and white men make cute mixed babies. That is where it killed it for me. That is where the credibility just ended right there. Because to say that you are dating somebody who is of a different race so that you can make cute mixed babies is a very volatile statement to make, because now you're insinuating that babies who are of a mixed pigmentation can only be dignified as cute, whereas other babies in general are not cute. You're alienating a whole bunch of other races just to say that mixing with a race makes you have a cute baby and nothing else will. When a baby is born, barring any type of disfiguration or some type of birth defect, all babies are cute. I've never seen an unaesthetically pleasing baby in my life. They are all adorable. So to kind of close it off, I'm going to say this, man. We are living in a world where the president of America is like the biggest bigot in the world. There is no reason at all whatsoever to add to that increasing level of bigotry, especially when it's within your own community. So to all the dark-skinned women who kind of feel disrespected by the black men who have made those comments about only wanting to date light-skinned women because they're of a certain, pigmentation and how they'll have cute babies or whatever the case may be, demonize them. Do not demonize every black man that you see that dates a light-skinned woman. Because for all you know, and this may be a crazy thought here, he may just like her for who she is. That's it. So that's why I never understood why people were disrespecting Kendrick Lamar when he dated his high school sweetheart that he's known for 10 years, at the very least, and decided to put a ring on it, rather than going the stereotypical route and just marrying some Instagram model or another celebrity. But then when Serena came out and says, oh, white men treat me better, no one said anything. I didn't hear one black woman say anything at all about that. Very few black men said anything about that at all. And people, fail to realize that the type of caliber of men that Serena had dated before that white multimillionaire was the fact that she grew up in Compton, so she probably dated the the stereotypical black male, which is, you know, someone who's hyper masculine, hypersexual, someone who has to prove that he's a thug or a gangster to prove that he's a man. And then when she became a successful athlete, she started dating rappers. And I don't want to stereotype all rappers, but rappers don't really have a good track record for the most part when it comes to the dating scene because they're just philandering from groupie to groupie. Like, she dated Common, sure, but Common's been in multiple relationships that haven't really been as successful. And then Drake is like the Casanova playboy of the rap game. So what do you expect when you went from dating dudes in Compton to dating rappers who like to philander around to dating, you know, someone who's a billionaire who just so happens to be white? So I feel like people need to analyze all these situations within proper context rather than just pointing the finger and saying, oh, look at you, you're a sellout because you're dating somebody of a lighter pigmentation. Okay, yeah, I am dating someone of a lighter pigmentation, but they're still black. So what is your point? And even if they're not black, that's their choice. You shouldn't demonize them for not dating somebody outside their race. So that's why I want to hear when I hear people like Dr. Umar Johnson, that Hotep idiot, spewing out his hatred. I have no patience for it whatsoever. So for the people who still have that mentality in their head, get it out of your system and get over yourselves. Just get over yourselves. Don't believe in your own hype. If somebody doesn't like you for your skin pigmentation, they're not for you. Keep it moving. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of other men out there who like dark-skinned women, so go to them and see where they're at if you want to date a black man who is of a darker tone, or if you don't want to date a black man, that's totally fine. No one's going to judge you for it. Just don't judge others for their dating preferences. That's their preference. That's their business. And that's all it comes down to. And I just want to give a big shout out to my friend who kind of had to go through this injustice, unfortunately. Stay up, keep your head up, stay strong. Don't even worry about the people who unfriended you because they weren't your friends to begin with. They're clowns, they're jokes, they're idiots. And they're caught within their own stigma, and good riddance to them. That's dead weight off of your shoulders. I call that addition by subtraction. So that's my take on it. What do you guys think? Did I leave anything out of there? Is there anything that you guys want to add in there? Make sure to hit me up on Twitter at DM_cool or cool_radio, or leave your comments, below this video once I post it on YouTube. Woo!